He's like, me? I have conquerors? And Luffy looks at him is like, what? The amount of agendas that are about to be pushed, Sanji fans, go ahead, take cover. Take cover, because there was a lot of glaze going on in this chapter. A lot of stuff revealed. Zoro's conquerors, King Harald, whatever he did, Loki being actually right. We've been saying this for a long time. This is One Piece chapter 1152. Let's get into the review. In the last chapter, we know that Elbaph, a lot of stuff's going on. Hajrudin, Loki, and Luffy. Hey, it's time for you guys to get up to the Sun Realm because we need you. Emu is going crazy. Different members, a part of the New Warrior Pirates, they are getting on the lift so that they can make their way to the Sun World. We have Road, he's going there, as well as other members. George, she's staying behind with Chopper so that they can look over not only Loki but watch Gaban as well. Gaban told Luffy to be mindful the way that he uses conquerors because the Holy Knights, they are no means immortal. And so this all but confirms two things. Number one, that Skopper Gaban indeed used conquerors Haki when he went against Summers, and then number two is that conquerors is what it takes to defeat the Holy Knights. Now, hearing that kind of disappoints me a little bit. I knew all along that that's probably what it was. It was some form of application that Luffy still has to refine, but I was hoping that it was going to be the case because that would limit the individuals that not only can fight the Holy Knights but the Gorosei, and shoot, you could even argue potentially the giants that have turned due to the dummy reversing. Because based off of Dragon's statement, and especially during the final war, it looks like the revolutionaries, that they were supposed to be the matchup that goes against the Holy Knights, but the only person that can use conquerors is Dragon, and probably we can assume Sabo too, so there's not that many people a part of the revolutionaries that could fight them. And so like I said, if you include the Gorosei as well, there's only so many conquerors users. I know it looks like it's a lot, but it actually really isn't. There's only so many people that have conquerors Haki, and then there's even less of them that can use advanced conquerors. Loki, he's up, he's like, hey, take me with you. Gaban, what you said just now, I wasn't able to put it into words before, but my power, I'm the only one who has faced these Holy Knights before, and I know I could beat them. So there's two things. One, I wonder if Loki is talking about how he faced them before with Shamrock and Gunko, which technically, Loki, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. You didn't face them. You were chained up and you got freaking smoked. But if he's talking about before, which there was a flashback that was revealed in this chapter, then yeah, I'd say Loki, he's faced them before. And so since he has more understanding about conquerors being the key, we all assumed that Loki was going to be an individual that could use conquerors Haki. I think that y'all should take him with you. Now this is where we get to the uncomfortable part of the chapter. Like I said, Sanji fans, you better hold on for dear life, because Gaban, he looks up and he said, hey, there's another member of the group who also uses conquerors Haki. Shout out Sanji, but man, because Sanji's out here, he goes up to Gaban, he's like, hey, is it me? I knew it. I freaking knew that I had conquerors. With how things were going, Mosshead and Jinbei, they're about to assert me, they're about to surpass me. Gaban doesn't even acknowledge Sanji's here, and he looks at Zoro and says, you swordsman, it seems that your body has become accustomed to using conquerors. Before I get into that statement about Zoro and conquerors, Sanji, I don't understand why you thought Jinbei was going to usurp you. Jinbei ain't been doing nothing this whole arc. Jinbei's been in chains. He's been in chains with the briars or the freaking bandages or whatever. He ain't doing nothing. So Sanji, you're fine, bro. Especially with your German power-ups, you'll be fine. Zoro literally did the Drewski meme. He's like, me? I have conquerors? And Luffy looks at him is like, what? Like, what are you talking about? How did you not know? It's literally been oozing off of you this entire time. And this causes Gaban to get a little bit upset because he's like, how absurd. Haki is a power that is very meticulous. It needs to be understood, needs to be tamed. And Luffy being an emperor, if you want to stand by his side and be able to truly support him, you have to master this ability. And Zoro's like, hey, bro, chill, all right, I get the idea. So the conversation, there's a couple of things that came to mind. Number one, if it's been oozing off Zoro all this time, how long has Luffy known this? Because there have been several instances that Zoro has we assumed had used conquerors before he even unlocked advanced conquerors in his fight against King. The two instances that I will refer to is number one, against Monet when she couldn't move, and then number two, how Toei, they added a scene in Wano whenever they were about to storm Onigashima and like the whole party situation, because it would check out similar to how Zoro first used Haki against Das Bones, but he did it unconsciously and he didn't know exactly what he did. It would make a little bit of sense how Zoro would use conquerors here unconsciously. I mean, Luffy used it several times before he trained with Rayleigh and truly knew what it was. Conqueror's Haki is something that is dormant. I think the best example is Ace, how Ace technically had conquerors, but he didn't unleash it until Luffy was in danger when the fire was happening during the Great Terminal. And same with Luffy. I think the first time he used it was against Duval, but it was unconscious, and then he didn't train with it and wasn't able to tame it until after the 2-year time skip with Rayleigh. So yeah, I just wonder, like I said, if Luffy knew that he was oozing this the entire time, if it was during the time skip, because it makes sense. At least there's a statement in Fishman Island after Luffy knocked half the fishermen unconscious. Zoro's like, hey, if he wasn't able to do something like this, then he shouldn't be fit to be captain, insinuating or implying at least that Zoro has some knowledge of what conquerors is. And then I mentioned that Sanji, because of Gaban, he should have conquerors, he should unlock it, but why is it that both Luffy and Gaban, they completely ignored him? So that makes me believe that they can only tell whether somebody has it or not whenever they unleash it, and that would, like I said, technically I guess be during Wano, but Zoro showcased instances before then. So yeah, that conversation gets a little bit confusing, I won't lie. And also Zoro asking this question, when he attacked Kaido with Dead Man's Game, when he used Ashura, Kaido literally stated, you're a conqueror's user too. So this isn't the first time that it's been brought up. King even mentioned that Zoro has kingly ambition. Now, in terms of Zoro not using it properly, this can be really scary. This can be really scary because Zoro was able to leave a scar on Kaido. He was able to beat King's durability, clip his wings. He was able to leave a nasty scar on Lucci while exuding and oozing this much conquerors without knowing how to properly use it. And some people will argue that, hey, that Zoro, he's already unleashing the max amount that he can and try to dismiss his ability. That's not how that works. It means that Zoro has not yet mastered how to use it, and when he does learn how to use it, similar, think about Dragon Ball Super, when Goku and Vegeta, they learn how to truly master Ki, how they went from being able to use Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, turning into Super Saiyan Blue. So Zoro's technique will be way better. It's kind of like an athlete. Let's say that they have a lot of wasted movement. Once they're able to hone in on how to properly move, whether it's their footwork or other technique, they become way better. And then on top of this, Zoro's obviously going to learn Future Sight. There's arguments whether or not he does or doesn't have Rio. If he doesn't, well, he'll gain that too. And so I'm a firm believer, after hearing this statement, that Zoro truly doesn't understand Haki. Oh, I know that we've been saying it since a freaking Wano. We've been saying it, Egghead, a long time ever since Black Blades were introduced. I will put it in this video, right? If I'm right here, oh, I'm gonna look so cool. Zoro is definitely turning at least one of his blades black by the end of this arc. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I put about different One Piece content almost each and every day. Hajrudin and Loki, they are still arguing. Loki's like, bring me with you. Hajrudin's like, how can I trust you? And Luffy's like, all right, enough is enough. Loki, join my crew. If he does that, then he has to be allowed to go up because he serves under me, right? This is one of the only times that Luffy has invited someone like this, and we've seen others around. Typically, whenever that happens, they get invited to the crew. For example, Brook, when he was first invited, Nami and I believe it was Sanji were against it, right? Similar to here, how Zoro and Sanji, they're like, hey, I don't think he can join. Now, obviously, with Loki's personality, as we saw it later in the arc, that he's not a bad guy, but he's also not the nicest person in the world, and he also doesn't follow the same ideologies that Luffy has. He follows rocks, while Luffy, he more so follows Shanks. Nevertheless, Gaban, he's also like released Loki because we finally got to see what exactly happened with King Harald, why Loki had to, well, presumably kill his father. Apparently, Gaban and Shanks, while they were in Elbaph, they noticed a strange Haki outside the castle, and the moment Luffy heard after Shanks is like, up, Zoro and Sanji, y'all go ahead and go to the Sun World. I have to hear this. So in the next couple of chapters, yes, I think we're going to continue with the Harald backstory, everything with Loki, but also whenever we get back to the current story, the Sun World, if you wonder why it's just Sanji and Zoro there, because the two wings of the Pirate King, you know, they got to go crazy at least at one point in this arc together. That's why it's just them, and Luffy's not there as well. Start of the flashback, Harald, he summoned both Loki and Zoro to go to the castle. Loki, like I said, his personality, it's not evil, but it's an acquired taste. We'll just put it like that. And so Zoro and Loki are talking about, hey, we want peace, but Loki's like, nah, we're warriors. We don't need to have this peace. And so once they get to the castle doors, Loki, he kicks it down, and all of a sudden there are miniature giants that are stabbing Harald. So yeah, apparently, I mean, maybe he survived off of this, but as it looks right now, Loki was definitely set up. We also circle to Shanks and Gaban. They are enjoying a hot spring together, drawing a bath. I do want to mention that Gaban talks about how Shanks was a child of destiny, and this goes back to, I believe, chapter 1082, how Buggy talked about Shanks supposed to be the next king. However, Shanks didn't want that. He wanted to be a free-spirited pirate like Buggy, but of course, with him being a part of the Figureland family, that's just not possible. Also, whenever Shanks made it back to Mary Jawa, he definitely interacted with King Harald, and so he couldn't speak freely with him there, and so he wanted to talk to him here at Elbaph before it's too late. And I can assume, based off of what Emu talked about, how Harald messed something up in the final hour, that is what Shanks was referring to. We cut back to the castle, and so Harald lost his life. You see Zoro getting stabbed in the head. You see Loki steal the fruit, but it skipped a lot of stuff. It's going to go back in time to before Harald was a nice person, or before he was a beloved king, and then we're going to see that, and then probably cut back to Loki actually cutting Harald down. Loki is definitely going to parallel Harald here, at least a little bit, with how he is such a loved individual, how he preached peace. But if you look at Harald's flashback, the giants, obviously back in the day, and even now, that's why Emu wants their strength. They were the most feared throughout the entirety of the sea. And so looking at Harald, in this flashback, he ends up kicking someone into a castle. He is a dirtbag, and they said that Harald was pure scum. So I wonder what changed, or what caused Harald to change to be more so of a pacifist that, well, at least everyone in Elbaph claims that he was. And honestly, Harald's PR is kind of crazy, because how was he this much of a dirtbag, but the only thing that we hear about him is how nice of a person he is, how much of a pacifist and a good guy he is, if he was doing stuff like this. A lot of crazy stuff took place in this chapter. Like I said, Zoro's a confirmed conquerors, and that's how the Holy Knights are going to be defeated. Loki could potentially join Luffy's crew, but we also got to finally, after what, 15 or so chapters of them just bad-mouthing Loki, we finally got to see a little bit of the flashback, and that, well, something was going on with King Harald. But let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow my Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. And don't forget to unleash your potential.